I did a whole bit and my mic wasn't on. Jesus. You could see the thing bouncing. I was doing a bit. Damn. God. Anyway. No, it's stream begin time, folks. It's time for begin the stream is. Another week, and another week has passed, and it's yet another week that I have not, changing my audio levels. Yeah, another week gone by, and another week I haven't bothered to check the audio levels of previous streams. Life is a work in progress, said somebody whose life was a work in progress. But anyway, okay. So, I hope everybody's doing very well on this Friday evening. I was just thinking to myself, it's crazy that we still have the weekend, right? Like, so many other things have gone wrong and so many other things have degraded, but we still have, like, at least we get 2 days. Or people who work full-time and not over full-time get 2 days where they're not at their day jobs. I say that, and as I was saying that, I realized, oh wait, some people don't have their weekend because they work through full-time. I'll revise it. At least it's a thing you can have, you know what I mean? Like, it's a thing that you can get if you get what was expected of people 10 years ago, 15 years ago. I don't know. Point is, it's Friday. Hey, yeah, we're launching right into Legos. That's what this stream is about. After all, this is the one with the Legos. The other ones haven't had them, you know. You've just been staring at a blank screen, completely silent the entire stream. Let's grab... Where are we? Here we are. Ba-bam. Ta-da. We need to do a fade-in for that. There's no fancy fade-in. Alright, we are so close to being done with this build. We are so terminally close to being done with this build. I can taste it. It doesn't taste good. It tastes kind of like salty, but not like in a food salt way. You know that taste. It's like, this is salt, but this is not a salt I should be eating. That's how it tastes, okay? I shouldn't be eating it, but I'm a little goofy today. I don't know why. Okay, but to mentally prepare myself, we're finishing off this build. We're finishing off this build. We're doing turning the music down just a little bit, turning myself up just a little bit. It's always a fight with audio, man. There's always a fight with audio. I got no idea if I sound good. I keep meaning to check. I keep meaning to, like, go back and watch my VODs, and then another week passes by and it's like, oh, time to stream again. Oh well. It's the rigmarole. It's the constant rigmarole. Alright, mental checklist. Mental checklist. We gotta put in storage area back here. That's probably what I'm gonna tackle first. It's my fucking white whale. Then we got this big empty space here. We want to put some fuel tanks in there. I don't know how I'm going to attach them without ruining the nice tile floor. We'll figure it out. We got some piping I want to put in under here. And then we're done. And then this is a finished build, and I'll be putting together the I'll be like working on the assembly videos off stream, like rendering them and editing them. It always takes so long to render. It's like it's the big reason why I got, well, no, I do run a 2 PC setup because, you know, I'm a wasteful person. I don't have any use for that piece, unfortunately. Actually, no, wait, hang on, I might. Yeah, but I got a 2 PC setup, and like streaming is a big part of why, so that I can stream. And then the rest of it is what do you call it? Rendering these builds, quite honestly, is the main thing I'm rendering right now. All right, let's actually dive in and do this thing that I've been meaning to do. I've been meaning to do this for, I've like looked at this section so many times and been like, do I know what to do here? Do I know what I want to do here? The thing is, I kind of do and I kind of don't. I know what I, wait, hang on. Okay, I think I know what I want to do here. When in doubt, get some brackets. But it's a very bad piece of advice for any kind of structural building, but even though I do it, like, are these brackets? I forget, these are brackets, I can see them. See, I don't follow my own advice. Step 1, don't follow, step 1, don't follow your own advice. Step 2, fail. I want to get all the length I can out of this, so I know what to do. I'm fully in control here. I'm in control of myself. So, the inelegant thing here is that I am turning this, like, stepped space. If you're joining the VOD now, the stream now, you're not going to know what I'm talking about, but I'm turning this previously kind of, like, stepped empty space to just a brick wall. And that's a kind of a sacrifice that I don't have any emotional attachment to, whatever, but, like, it is a little bit technically, like, not as cool to have just a flat wall, right? But yeah, I'm just thinking of how do I turn that step space into a space that is greebled in a way that suggests a fullness of something, storage, right? And how do I do that and still make it feel accessible to the minifigures? Because, like, I care about that. I shouldn't. Who gives a crap? But I do. Of, like, I'm not just going to put in a space that it doesn't look like anybody inhabiting the space could access this part of it, you know? I just don't want to do that. I just don't want to do that. I just don't want to do that. It's a preference. I could have been using these plates the whole time, damn it. Oh well. There's a little bit of piece inefficiency in the build. Sue me. Actually sue me. I want to see that lawsuit. I want to read that lawsuit on stream. This was a joke. Don't do that. Playing a little bit on hard mode because I gotta basically guess the dimensions of the space under the tail fin here. Actually, is this... Can I just hide you? I can hide you. Yes, I can hide him. I didn't realize I wasn't... Oh, well. Let's click in. You are all part of the same. Damn. Alright. That's ineffective. We tried. We tried. Alright, we jammed a 3 in there and it didn't fit. We jammed a 3 in there and it did fit. We jammed a 4 in there and it didn't fit. So that tells us what we need to know. Thrill as he fills a space. Gotta build your greebling platform before you can greeble. That's the sad reality of it. Modification. Come here, Mr. Tile. All right. Before we go in and actually add the things that'll make this look good, the fact that I didn't apply this to the proper group means I do get to do something cool. So this is what our big chunk that I just built looks like all stripped away. Just a solid chunk of plates. Really probably makes the set quite back heavy if it wasn't for the massive engine and fuel tanks we put on the front of it. But I get to cut it, ratio the fuselage, paint the roof, so that's our space unfilled. Oh, wait, I was about to make the same mistake. There we go. Ba-bam. Now we just have to put a round peg in a square hole. All right, now here's the actual greebling. Here's what we're building up to. Grabbing a little extra something here. A little extra something. Looks like we don't have quite what I'm looking for. I was really going to sell this if I have some kind of latch, some kind of lock, some kind of handle. Simple, yet hopefully effective. Nah, that's really stuck too far out. Gotta get a little bit more complicated. Tile modified. Bam, bam, and... The naming of these things always throws me off. Like, intuitively, this is a rod. You know what I mean? This is like a stick. No. It's a bar. You know? It's close to what you'd expect, but not quite. I guess that's what happens when you're playing with a toy made by the Dutch. Gonna make a style choice here. That looks better. It makes less sense that, you know, a minifig wouldn't really be able to grab that, but that's something I care about only to an extent. You know, because I'm a hypocrite. There you have it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 big slide out trays full of stuff. That's what we're going for here. And even if you don't understand what that is, you're like, oh, that's something. Looks cool. Maybe it's a server rack or a battery, who knows? Could be, you know. This is the thing about greebling, which is the term I keep using, and that is a term from old model making they used to do for movies. If you have like a spaceship or a regular ship or just some model of a machine you need to build, and it's small but it's got to look big. Greebling is a term for just adding in details, bumps and ridges and little things that make it look like a big machine. You can also make it look like a big natural thing too. If you're building a model of a large tree, you gotta make it look really large. maybe you add in smaller, like, little details that look like, smaller trees or bushes growing out of the vines, out of the branches of the bigger tree. It's a real thing in the Amazon, by the way. If you go down to the Amazon, you'll find that, for real. It's one of the things you learn on... One of the things you'll learn on the magic school... One of the things you learn on the magic school bus. Why can't I get that out? But yeah. If you look at this engine. I'm really proud of this piece. I guarantee the video, like the assembly video of this, is gonna get like fucking 10 views. Because that's how it goes with a lot of the ones I put effort into. It's just how the internet is sometimes. It's like sometimes the things you put a lot of in... God damn it, I hate it when this happens. There it is. Sometimes the things you put a lot of effort into like do really well, and sometimes they just don't. So by that law of nature, this has like a 50-50 chance of getting no views when I post it. When I post like an assembly video of it. But this is all greebling. This is all like, I have the idea that these are supposed to represent pistons and like, spark plugs and things like that, parts of a diesel engine. But, not only is it just Legos, I'm just doing what comes naturally in terms of doing what like looks the most interesting, that's the overriding dictate here, There's nothing about a diesel engine that tells me that I need to put like this little guy right here, other than that looks good, right? That gives a little bit of spatial separation between this part that like these pieces are forming and the base, makes it make a little more independent, a little bit like there's just a little bit extra more detail, it suggests to the eye when you're looking at it from a distance, which, if you're actually holding it in your hand, it might look more like this. It suggests that there's more to it, that there's supposed to be more to it, Anyway, that's the idea. Greebling. That's why sometimes if you're making a Lego machine, you just stick a bunch of grills on it. These guys. Why? Why are they there? Are they vents? Are they something else? Who knows? They look good. You can tell I use that principle a lot. All right. So the next part, I admit, I know even less about. What am I doing? I don't know. What am I doing? I'm sticking fuel tanks into this big empty space. Just big things. They're supposed to be evocative of, like, here's where the fuel is. And this is a tough space to build in, because of course I can only see part of it. The wing butts in about halfway back, so I really got to keep that in mind. And then part of the floor I never tiled. And we're just going to go X-nay on the aisle-tays. I do need to replace them with something because they are load-bearing to an extent. You see how they kind of overlap the creases of the ultimate bottom plates here. I've said this so many times on the stream. It's like structure is a secondary thought when I'm building these, because I'm building them in the computer, and in the computer there's no gravity. But it's like something that's in the back of my head, because like I would like to, in the far future, build these IRL, build these sets, the sets that I have in the shorts, the mech sets, and this thing. But there's so much between now and then, including probably just completely changing everything about how these are made, how these sets are built, iterating upon them, just like continually improving the structure. If you watch enough of my shorts, you know that like I put out the version 3s of the mechs. That was my original videos. And then the most recent one, the version 5. You don't get to see version 4. It's a you don't get to see it exclusive. It's not on Patreon or anything. You just don't get to see it. I don't have a Patreon. But anyway. Losing my train of thought. Yeah, the point is that, like, that is a long-term goal. Realize we got a color mismatch. I'm just gonna iron it real quick. That is the goal, to build these. But for now, it's just like, okay, here's what I want it to look like. Here's the vision. I'm just gonna do that however I can, and then we'll worry about the rest down the road. So you gotta figure out, do a quick exploration. What is... This is those little stud launchers for the, I feel... In a way, I feel cheated. I was a Bionicle kid. I was a big Bionicle... Well, I wasn't that big of a Bionicle kid. Like, the people I run into who are, like, Bionicle fans now, it's like, you know, I am but the apprentice and they are the master, being fans of Bionicle. Let's see here. But I played with them as a kid. And the launchers were, to me, one of the most interesting parts of the most interesting changing thing about Bionicle, just in the way that, like, each year's launcher would find a new way to suck. A kid, partially. I love those things. Especially the ones that I like the 2007, like, little red peg launcher, and the Mystica launcher from 2009? Yeah, the one that shoots the big rubber missile. I like those. I like the air-powered ones, right? But there were so many duds, like the spring-powered, like all the ones that shoot little balls, like the Fantoka, like ones where it's like a spring-loaded cylinder that pushes them forward and you pop them out. And then the 2006 gravity-fed, Bionicle gravity-fed launchers where it's like balls stacked on top of each other and they fall down. It's like both of those suck for different reasons. Anyway, the part that I'm jealous of is that, like, Hero Factory, I never got into it. I was, like, kind of... I tricked myself into thinking that I was growing out of it. Lego in general. I sold off all my old Legos. I didn't sell them off. I gave them away to a family friend who had a younger child. It's like, that was great for them, but now I'm kind of looking back like, God damn it, I should have kept a hold of those. When I got to college and realized nothing mattered and I could just, you know, go back and keep, like, doing stuff with Legos, it would have really nice to have all my old collection still. And it's whatever. Circle of life. I'm sure that kid... I hope that kid still holds on to them. I swear to God, if I meet that kid, and I don't even know that kid's name, but if I ask my mother and then I meet that kid and that kid's like, oh yeah, no, I got rid of them too, I'm gonna strangle that little son of a... You made the same mistake I did, damn it! This is not gonna work. What are you compatible with? I'm currently trying to execute the simple task of just finding a big, round thing that I can stick in the fuselage. It's harder than you think. You gotta find the right big, round thing. There's a part that I'm thinking of, but I'm honestly not sure if it's in here. Just analyzing candidates at this point. nothing there. You are a fallback. Yeah, I don't like that rim. I don't like these rims that it forms when it overlaps with itself. I don't like those. God, there was another piece. Hang on. Going for broke. Went for broke, didn't work. God. I just don't... I remember in my mind there's a piece that they used to use for, like, Lego City jet engines. They had a specific piece for that. I remember using it in some of my old builds back in the day. I had like one or two of them. I forget how. But I'll be damned if I can find them. It's ironic using them as just a fuel tank inside of a turboprop plane, but it's like what I'm thinking. It's what I am thinking. You would be perfect in a way if you had... I could make that work, kind of. It's like a better option than the first one I looked at. You are interesting. What even are you? Do you have a friend? The answer is... no, you don't have a friend. That's honestly odd. Like, look at this guy. You'd expect him... oh, I see. You get one, you get two, like that. That's how it's supposed to go. That's honestly a little bit annoying because, like... I still might be able to use it if... dang it. If you are narrow enough and you're short enough, if you're small enough, if you're tall enough, and if you're wide enough. Nope, he's gonna be too big. He's gonna be too big. That's a shame. Because, like, in terms of fuel tanks, I could do something spherical. I'd rather do something more cylindrical, with like a little bit of a break between the sections of the cylinder. Not as much as like the other ones that I'm looking at. Okay. James asked what was my favorite Lego theme growing up. Like, hands down Bionicle, to be honest. Hands down Bionicle. Bionicle was like how I got into Lego. I love Bionicle, dude. There's a reason why, like, my first build was like these mechs. That's just where my head is. Like, big Lego thing. I don't like the modern buildable figures is the problem. I mentioned this before. I never got into Hero Factory. Like, where that aborted rant was going when I was talking about the Bionicle shooters was, yeah, those Hero Factory stud shooters. It's like, okay, this is a perfectly serviceable shooter, and the parts are so small that you can easily swallow them. I feel like I was cheated. I could have had a workable shooter and intestinal blockage, and Bionicle never got either of those. I tell a lie. You could have easily swallowed the little red pieces from the 2007 shooters. It would have been delectable. They were soft too. You could chew them. Yeah, hands down Bionicle, and then Lego Star Wars for sure. Top two, easily. Like, Power Miners, like, Maybe I got a power miner set. Maybe I got a power miner set. Why am I back here? What am I even looking for at this point? Hello. No, you're too small. Need that main body before I start greebling down. Need that main body. God damn, we're getting desperate. I'm getting desperate. Just like this. Yeah, it's not going to do it. That's not going to do it. Engine. See? Oh, here it is! Oh my god. Jesus. This is exactly what I was looking at. Oh! Why they discontinued Bionicle, James. There's actually, I heard some lore on this recently. Basically, LEGO says that it wasn't making enough money. That's their official story. The reality is, it's like very obvious why it is if you just look at what was going on with LEGO's other properties as Bionicle was ending. They just wanted to transfer to doing IP. They just wanted to transfer to doing adaptations of other people's intellectual property rather than making their own stuff. That's the reason. That's it. It's like, okay, Bionicle's run its course, says the people in the higher ups. We want to shift to making Lego Star Wars and Lego Harry Potter and Lego this and Lego that, and we also really want to lean into bricks and brick work, and we don't want to put up the money to make our own stories. So we're gonna end Bionicle. Simple as. I'm gonna be honest, like, they could have kept things in, like, Latorion world going. Spherus Magna. But 2010 was not the worst time to end it. It just would have been nice if we got something more for that last year than All-Stars. Like, that was the main problem. Like, All-Stars was okay as, like, the kind of, like, ending celebratory clip show. Wasn't a bad idea, These little Matoran size sets that just commemorate, the sort of like highlights of different years. Like here's a Rashi, here's a Paraka. I'm gonna pronounce so many names wrong. Sorry. That's all I could say. Okay, that's gonna work pretty well. But here's Tao, here's yeah, didn't they do Takanuva? I forget the 3 light side guys. They did Gresh, I know that. Stuck Gresh in there. Yeah, James, that's correct. It's like Ninjago. Yeah, Ninjago is the odd man out in terms of them disconnecting IP. No, in terms of them switching IP, I said that wrong. Like, that's the one they kept around because, like, ninjas print money for the core demographic, which is ultimately kids. Another, like, theory that I heard from the same people who mentioned the IP switch, which I believe this rumor. It sounds plausible. It's probably not even a rumor. There's probably documentation on it. I just haven't looked it up. Is that another factor in Bionicle's decline was the New Zealand government. Like, unfortunately, the fact of the matter is that all of the Bionicle names are taken from, like, these are all just, like, regular words and names in, like, Polynesian and Maori language is plural, probably, I believe. And yeah, they're not exactly too hot on the concept of their, like, just culture being used for these little plastic dudes in a way that kind of rubs them off of rubs them off of cultural ownership of this property. Like, I'm dancing around the term that, like, anybody watching this gets by now, cultural appropriation, right? Like, the New Zealand government was like, yeah, this is kind of like you guys using all of these like regular words from our language as for your thing is like a little bit cultural appropriatory, to the point where we're gonna be like, yeah, we're gonna take a little bit of action here, man. We're gonna go in and we're gonna kind of be dicks about it. And the rumor I've heard that the people spearheading this were the New Zealand government. That's the point that I don't know. I don't know if they were actually involved or if it was just New Zealanders talking about it. I don't know, right? But yeah, the fact of the matter is that, like, they didn't use the same terminology. They used some of the same names, but they, like, nixed a lot of them from the 2016 reboot, which I have my qualms about. I didn't buy any of those sets because I had much less disposable income in 2016 than I did when I was a child, and it was using my parents' disposable income. So I never bought the G2 sets. Locking in for something I don't need to lock into. Okay. What the? Do that. Thank you. But yeah, for Bionicle, when they came back with the G2 sets, they like dropped some of the Maori terminology, the Polynesian terminology, which I'm using those terms not interchangeably. I think it was like they used Maori and Polynesian. So like they didn't call the Toa in the reboot. And yeah, I agree, James. It's like, yeah, it's like there's no arguing that using Maori terminology and culture in the way that they did is definitely like textbook appropriation. And we can talk about how you can talk about like what appropriation is, and like, for lack of a better term, uses of it that are more bad or less bad, because there is some room for nuance. But it's like, yeah, at the end of the day, that's what you're doing, and if the people who you're doing it from aren't happy with it, they're not happy with it, you know what I mean? Ultimately, the decision is with them, and from what it sounds like, they weren't happy. But again, I have to do more, like, I'm peeking. I don't like that I'm peeking. My damn audio source. Well, I'm trying, you know what I mean? Anyway, what was I saying? Yes, yeah, and it's a shame because Lego is such a badass series. I mean, Bionicle is such a badass series. I'm gonna make terminology messed up. All right, is this working from a design standpoint? Oh my god, I spent so long looking for these engines and this is not hitting. Ugh. I don't know what I think one thing we've established is we're definitely going with this kind of like raised platform in the middle for the base. We just need to put something. We're going spherical. We're going spherical. We're going in. We're just going to start by getting some spheres. By looking at some spheres. We are sphere gazing right now. We are getting our orbs. We are pondering our orbs. We're touring the facilities and picking up slack. And I guess, yeah, to kind of like end the, or continue the conversation on cultural appropriation in Bionicle, the question then becomes like, how do you make that series without doing the cultural appropriation? And of course the answer is you just can't use the names. Or at least you can't lean so heavily on Maori names. Like, if you took one or two Maori names, or Polynesian names, and then you took either other names from other cultures, or you just, had that with a mix of made-up names, so it's like one or two illusions versus your entire series is based around this terminology and appropriating from this culture's imagery. Those are two very different scenarios. I think the second scenario is one where people are significantly less mad. But, then it becomes, what do you call the Toa? And the answer is not what they did in the 2016 reboot. It really does seem like the 2016 reboot, they were just kind of phoning it in to, like, try to give people what they wanted with, people were, like, not demanding. Fans were, like, really looking forward to a reboot, and, Lego was like, okay, we'll capitalize on this a little bit. And they just phone it in. And so, of course, it doesn't work, and it's like, okay, well, we tried. Packing it in, folks. They should have hired some Maori creators on the project to begin with. That would have been a good idea. That's another good idea, yeah. It's like, the thing about that is, like, you don't want to do that just for the names. If you're hiring Maori creators, you are going to get a significantly different story. For the better, probably. For the much better. If you bring people in there who actually have some, like, chutzpah, some, like, skin of the game, metaphorically speaking, you're going to get probably a better story, like an even more unique one than what was told, but it's going to be different. And there's the, question of, does that work? Probably yes, but, you change anything about the formula, we know that it works, and it becomes like, okay, is it going to work? And again, the answer is probably yes. 2001 was a strange time. And, like, yeah, that's the other thing. It's like, let's go back to 2001 and ask 2001 corporate world toy makers to be like, yeah, hire some indigenous cultural consultants from the other side of the world. They should, but making that case now is a tough sell. I'm seeing no obvious solutions here. I'm gonna have to... Ironically, what I wanted to avoid doing was really having to build a unit out of, like, many bricks to make these fuel tanks, and that's what I'm gonna have to do. Curious if there were Maori fans of Lego and what their thoughts were. I'm curious about that too, James. The answer is probably yes. Lego was a global brand. Bionicle was a global franchise. Here's the thing. Global in air quotes, right? Like, Lego could go anywhere, but where it actually, was popular, where parents were buying their kids Legos, it's going to be more like the West. But New Zealand is, pretty Western, for better and for worse. So yeah, we're Maori fans of Lego. It would be interesting to see what, like, go to a New Zealand Lego convention and find some adult Bionicle fans in New Zealand and see what the discourse was 20 years ago when they were kids. Who knows, man? That is so open. But because my head is stuck, trapped, I am in a bog mentally. I'm gonna take a break from this build, and you know what we're gonna do? We were talking about Bionicle so much. I'm just gonna build a Bionicle, man. I'm just gonna do that real fast. Bam! They have Bionicle figures in here. It's the greatest thing. You could tell this is gonna build from the feet up. We're doing the suave feet. I always like these feet. They're so classy. Look at this. Look at this. This is a shoe. Man, this is like a... This is a dress shoe. You could wear this to the office. Compare that to, like, this ugly-ass thing. I've always thought these were the ugliest pieces. Anyway. My really strong prescriptions on Lego feet. I always gotta grab the hand because we move so often. They don't call it the hand in here, it's a problem. Here's what we're gonna do. Oh, right. I'm going a roundabout way to find the one piece that I'm going to need a bunch. Because nothing can be simple. Well, I'm going to need that, so I should grab that. Where are you? Where are you? I'm gonna need some of these, so I'm gonna grab them for later. What are you? You're interesting. You're gonna stick around. Otherwise, we're gonna get the classic. Definitely scrolled right past it. I'm looking for the hand piece, the little hand piece. Oh, there it is! I scrolled right past it. Here it is. Yeah, it's like in my head these are Lego hands, but they're not called that in the thing. Let's go back to buildable figures. Ba-bam. My guy's about to be standing. Stronger than he ever did. Looking like a true survivor. I'm probably just going to end up building a Metro. To be honest, that's how I'm feeling. I'm feeling compact and sleek and stylish. Gonna get a little bit fancy with the torso, though. Just a little bit fancy. It's a secret tool that's gonna help us out later. I have a theory. I have a hunch. Damn it. I didn't mean to do that. Perfect. until I'm really locked in here. That is going to stick out farther than I intended. We actually need to go simple. Get his two buddies, Juan and Philippe. Except, no, this is not how Juan and Philippe. That was like George and Andy. I don't need George and Andy. I need Juan and Philippe. There they are. Like Jonas Brothers. Just realized I'm doing too much. Sometimes I do too much, man. Simplicity is king. Except when you want to do something more complex and then it isn't. Net zero information. Pins and axles, that's what they're called. To me, they're like pegs and Phillips head pegs. Turns out this was a bad idea. I would say shoulder articulation will be limited, but we actually have a magic workaround for that. I figure how does this look? Horrible. Yeah, it's gonna look horrible. No way to make that look good. There she blows. Looking for something specific here. So is it one piece? Hours and hours of my childhood were spent sifting through my Lego bin, just sifting, looking for the one piece I knew I needed for whatever build I was working on. I'm gonna feel like an idiot when I finally find it and I've scrolled past it like 3 times. I always forget I can do this. So close yet so far away. It's gonna be under Technic, I just know it. Here's another way. Okay. This is frustrating. I can't find this one piece. I need it. I need it. I need it. I'll have to move on to, like, plan C for the arms. First, I'll have to formulate plan C. Hello, Plan C. You are absolutely psychotic, Plan C. I love you, Plan C. 5 stages of grief. Yeah, Plan C is going to be a bust as well. I don't think we can salvage it. Which is a shame, because Plan C would have been baller. Actually, might try to resurrect Plan C by working backwards. it. The simple option has been revealed unto me. If I can remember what it was. Here it is. Jesus, what the... This is the piece I was originally looking for. God damn. I knew it was under Technic. I must have... What did I tell you? What did I say? I was going to scroll right by it. I did. I did the exact thing I said I was going to do. We can execute my vision, my plan. I'll miraculously move on to the next crisis that I have to solve. Oh, these are just actual balls. Look at that. Perfect spheres. What are... Jesus. God. What? What are you even compatible with? Every day I uncover new horrors. That was weird. There's just a blimp in Lego. It's not even a blimp you have to build. Just a blimp. another case if I cannot find the specific piece I'm looking for. Here it is. So I have to change the direction that I'm engineering this. You are interesting. You are just a chainsaw hand. Cool. I don't know where that would be applicable. So I think what I have to do is go all the way back to the first unholy construction I was doing. Intriguing possibilities, but I need something centered. So handle both of these. Functional but inelegant. A starting point. It'll do for now. We're going to come back and iterate on that section. See, here it is again. Why is there a blimp? What is blimp? Ah, here we go. I'm for sure those fist pieces would be called hands. have a basic idea. And this looks absolutely hideous. But we're going to call it a work in progress, because this is technically just a side distraction from the build I am actually trying to work on. So, I'm going to get back to that. Sorry, I'm distracted by fiddling with this. Alright, we will sort you out later. Let's get back to the main thing I actually want to do. I'm gonna save this guy real quick. And, you guys don't get to see that process. I'm sorry. You don't get to know the inner depths of my saving system. Secrets are preserved. Yeah, but his name is Hank now. That's what he's named. His name is Hank. Alright. Okay, back to the actual thing I was doing. So I think a little bit of separation has given me clarity and purpose. I'll be honest, I have no idea why I'm looking at this right now. But so, excuse me a moment. What I need to do is build up an independent unit and then copy it a few times. That's what I need to do. I really wanted the fuel tank to just be a piece that I slotted in, but you don't always get what you want. What's nice is if we're building it, we don't have to worry about, like, we've got more control. too close to the sun. That's going to do the same thing. What if, for the sake of argument, there we go. That's really playing with the upper extent of the space. I'm gonna be cheeky and leave it empty. That's what cheeky means, right? That's what that word means. Nobody's gonna misrepresent my use of that word, surely. Alright. Gonna do something to make my life easier. Ba-bam. go. Look at that. That is vaguely tank-like. That is vaguely tank-like indeed. Freebling, ladies and gentlemen. Be a little bit cheeky. Why do I keep saying cheeky? What the hell is wrong with me? I'm watching too much. I've been binging too much classic Doctor Who, man. I'm taking in Anglicisms that don't not work in American social media. Forget it. Why do you not want to go where you were? There we go. Wait, really? Jesus. There we go. What? Anyway, that was annoying. Look at that. I did not intend for them to, like, butt up against each other like that. Let me show all. Hide the extra wings. At the top. The question is whether or not we could fit in more than 2 of these. The answer is I'm not even going to try. Okay, but that's that. That is that, out of the way. And then the last part is just a little bit of greebling down here to create a maintenance bay. Yeah, that'll be its own adventure. I'm streaming for 2 hours. The back half... Yeah, we're gonna go out with some city skylines. Are we? Are we? That's a good question. I'm torn. I had another game picked out. Yeah, I'm gonna do that one first and see how I feel. We're doing Aero GPX. Get that set up real quick. But yeah, that is... I moved from 80% done on that build to 90% done on that build. Just those last little details. It's a grind, you know? If I was more focused on that particular project, I think it would go faster, but I'm not, so, yeah. But hey, man, we're almost done. That plane, those construction videos will go up. I'm gonna do like 4 or 5 of them. I'm probably gonna do like, I can't really do discrete components too much like I did with the mechs, because like you don't want to see how the fuel tanks go together individually, you know what I mean, for a short. So it'll probably be just some like detail shots of the overall thing going together, and then bam, here we go. What do I want to do? What do I want to do? Let's do the scary one. But what was I saying? Ignore that sound. I'll probably do some like detailed close-ups of the fuselage build in addition to like just the fuselage build. And that'll suffice for parts for the most part. We'll get some independent parts, mainly the Oh! Ah! Damn! I'm gonna say the one. No, but you're gonna get some closest to the fuselage rather than independent parts for the this bomber plane build. That's the thing. I don't have really a pithy name to call that thing. Because in the lore that surrounds it, it is a prototype. It is an unnamed prototype. It has a number. It's like a... I forget, like Object 1129 or something like that. And that's, you know, the lore is that it is a machine built for... Jesus! That keeps happening. I need that to not happen. No, but the lore of that Lego build I was working on is that it's a machine built for, like, a single mission, a single purpose. There's not even really a point giving it a spiffy name. There is a coldness and a menace to its purpose, and you gotta carry that through in the communication of its identity, you know? Sometimes you just give a thing a cool name. Sometimes you, locking in. Locking in. Jesus, what difficulty was I on? Was I on... Because I just sent up in the last, like, minute. That is interesting. How did that happen? How did I win that game? Okay, no, but, yeah, no, naming conventions. Like, you gotta suggest purpose, and, like, Object 1129, or whatever I said to them. I always forget what the actual number is. But, let's see, what difficulty was, Standard, that explains it. Standard is, like, the lowest difficulty. We're gonna bump it up a notch and do the same course. But yeah, it's like 1129 is Object 1129 is a cool name, but it's like the principle there is like thinking about not just the diegesis of what the civilization that made it would call it, but how to communicate a little bit of its function narratively through just the naming convention. See, this is more like my regular performance that is struggling for the lower places. Can't wipe out like that. That doesn't go well. I tell myself, to myself. Okay. Son of a bitch. This was a bad idea. I'm gonna come in last place. Just watch. Son of a bitch. All right. We're gonna do one restart, and then we're doing something else. Maybe different track. I don't want to go down difficulty level. I would rather struggle with the challenge than coddle myself, you know? I also picked the combat card. I'm really not doing much in the way of combat. Because it's so far behind the pack. Son of a bitch. See, that's a problem. You can't do that. I should get good. You're right. Alright, now the challenge is to just make it to the end. Alright. I got all the way through the race. Sometimes it's all you can ask. You know what I mean? All you can ask. Alrighty. We're gonna triple down by literally doing the same basic gimmick, but where is it? Oh, this is... Oh, I haven't gotten to these in a... Yeah, you're right. I have a lot of I forgot, like, I look back at my career. Okay, they haven't unlocked that stuff for career, but it's unlocked for, like, the single player, these two cups down here, the Galaxy and the Universe Cup. Damn, do I just want to... I was, like, waiting for them to come out in career mode for me to actually do them. Right? Might do them later. I'm not going to do them right now. Alright. Same difficulty, same car, much harder track. What could go wrong? I beg you, what could go wrong? Please tell me so I stop doing this. I just think this track is a little bit easier. There are things that I'm good at this game and not good at this game. Like, I can't fly for shit. Damn it, I missed that boost. That boost. The point is, the things I am better... Oh, son of a bitch! The things I'm better and worse at is what I'm trying to say, as I show what I am worse at, for sure. And my point is that that track, even though it's supposed to be easy, has those little parts that really play to my weaknesses. Like that. I'm not good at... I bounce off the side of the track. I bounce off the side of the track. As simple as. It's my biggest weakness. And once you really... You know what? I'm just going to do it. I'm going to try to not fall off the track. I have seen Redline. This game is definitely Redline inspired. This game is also F-Zero inspired. There is an F-Zero anime I watched, for whatever reason, that was just like on around me. And I did get to watch that. Should go back and find the F-Zero anime. I know so little about F-Zero other than there was an anime. The point is that, yeah, this is Redline and F-Zero for sure. Son of a bitch. All right, we're gonna place top 10. That's pretty good. Let's wipe out. All right. That's as good as it's getting tonight. I am worn out for real. I had not a long week, but an eventful one. Stuff I will go into, stuff I won't go into. And where will I go into it? Not here. Don't worry about it. But yeah, so we finished most of the big Lego build we were working on, started a shitpost, and did some racing. I feel like that's a full night. A little bit shorter than I wanted, but we got in a good 2 hours. Yeah, I wanted to get at least a weekly level of streaming going, like, you know, one stream every week, but vacation got in the way of that. I was doing a camping trip, and one thing they tell you about camping, they're very upfront about, is that you cannot bring your, like, 2 large PCs into the woods to stream. You can't really do that unless you have, like, a lot of things already set up. And those things were not set up at this campsite. So I was like, I'm just not going to stream in the woods. Which was a very, everybody around me agreed with that decision, that was a good idea to not stream in the woods. But the point is that, yeah, I missed a week. But yeah, no, the fall's going to be interesting as I get more into this. I've, like, done it, come off of it, now I'm back. I really want to build now with these streams. I like this format of content. Like, edited stuff is, I feel like, the bread and butter I want to be known for, but the thing is, like, I want to take however many months it takes to really build up, like, a good edited thing that I, like, wrote and edited and did all this stuff for. And I'm working on those. You don't get to know about them until they're done, but I'm working on them. Unless you follow my Blue Sky, in which case I blabbed about them already. Point is, a fire another one. You said wistfully. We'll see y'all back here about this time next week. Maybe it'll be Friday, maybe it'll be Saturday, who knows? I'm gonna eventually get to the point where I'm doing, like, both days, or one of those days and another day during the week. I want to get to the point where I'm doing, like, 2 streams a week. Or, that's a goal. Maybe I'm just gonna do one. I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, it's like trying to do things and fit things in with everything else. It's difficult. But it's whatever, you know? We soldier on. We do a little bit here, a little bit there. But yeah. No. Thanks for joining me. We're gonna go out to my car, ghostly, lapping the course like something out of a Cake song lyric. And then we fade to the thing. You know the thing. You've seen the thing if you've been here before. You know the thing. Ba-bam. It's the thing. Alright. Peace. See you next time. Go enjoy. I don't know. Just trying to come up with something inside what they said. Goodbye.